And we're live, streaming to you from Founders Park in historic Ocean Grove, New Jersey. We are Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Thank you so much for joining us for our unique podcast community where we explore the triumphs and challenges of the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished colleagues. We're so happy that you're helping us grow. We just recently hit 1,530 subscribers on YouTube and growing every day. So please hit that subscribe button and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. You can join our email list at our website at www.jasontram.net. Again, that's www.jasontram.net. You can also see our almost 200 past episodes where we've interviewed some of the most distinguished members of the performing arts community, from classical music to contemporary music and everything in between. So we're so delighted you're here. Welcome to Music Matters. We have a wonderful guest today from Puerto Rico. We have our dear friend, Hilda Ramos, who comes as a diva soprano, a spinto soprano. She's sung with many leading companies, Connecticut Grand Opera, Shreveport Opera, Opera de Puerto Rico, and all over the world. She's sung with so many different symphonies. She's also been featured on television quite a lot in Puerto Rico, and she was the host of Objetiva Fama, which is the Spanish version of American Idol. So we're so delighted she could join us. Welcome, Hilda.
Hi, thanks for that. Oh my God, you were talking a lot of good things about me.
Well, there's so much to say. There's so much to say. How are things in Puerto Rico today?
Yeah, we're fine. Hot this summer, of course, but it's good. And the beautiful day we have here. And I'm very glad and happy to see you and to talk with everybody, to connect with people.
It's always great to connect with my friends from all over the world. What I love about opera is that I meet people from so many different places, and I met some wonderful Puerto Rican artists and different operas I've done. And last time I saw you, we did Butterfly together. And it was just so beautiful to hear you sing and to work with you, and it's great to reconnect.
Yeah, it is great. It is great, and I love you. I love your YouTube channel. I love what you do, not only as a podcast guy, but of course as a conductor. The experience we have had together has been very good, and I felt very, very comfortable with you on the podium.
Well, I had a blast. You know, when you work with experienced singers who really know their craft, it makes the job of the conductor so much easier. My job is to listen to the wonderful artists and to kind of see what they're doing, and we don't have to have a lot of rehearsal to kind of read each other when we're both kind of ready, and it's just so much fun to make music with artists like yourself.
And of course, you know very well the score. When I saw you, I know you know every part of the score, everything.
That Butterfly, boy, that's a scary score, but it's once you know it, you know it. It's in your head and your hands. And
yes.
It must be scary as a singer, too, right?
What?
That score is such a challenge for any soprano.
Yeah. It is very, Tosca and Butterfly they are very, very long. You have to know how to control the energy through all the opera, because the kind of what happens with myself is because I'm I'm a person who I'm very energetic. I want to be always moving and to be always acting, trying to say the message that the composer wanted me to express. So sometimes I have to calm down, and sometimes I have to think, okay, Hilda, this is long, this is very emotional, you have to take a break, you have to know when to stop. The energy is always there, because my teacher says, Hilda, you have to be always like feeling that something is moving in your voice and connecting your body. But sometimes I think you have to know when to stop.
You can go too far, right? If you're so emotional, you can go over the top and lose some of your vocal technique. I find the same with my conducting. If I'm over the top, I can kind of you lose some of the structure of the music. Things can get away from you. So you have to kind of keep a lid on it, but also be emotional, but at the same time in control.
Yeah, in control. That's it. That's very important. So you can also enjoy the thing. That is very important for singers, because you have to it's your responsibility to do everything right. Okay, it's okay. But you have to enjoy it too.
That's for sure. So did you always know you wanted to be an artist?
Always. Oh my God. I remember when I was a girl that I used to see in the school, everything. Okay, every time there was something to present, there were some activities, they wanted always Hilda to sing. So as soon as I remember from, I can say, first grade, I remember that I was singing in front of people, singing the music I used to hear, the music I like, the music my mother used to hear, because it is very important, the reference, what your parents used to listen, what kind of music. And I used to memorize everything and to sing everything that was on the radio. So that's why my teachers, they was always inviting me to sing on every activity. I was always there. So
Were
as
your
soon as
parents
I remember,
professional musicians?
no, they are not. They are not. But they love music, and the thing is that they had good taste for voices, for music, and I always, my mother listening for good voice, listening to good voices, like Mexican voices, and the Mexican voices from mariachi and from these very famous TV singers were very big and like kind of operatic. And she used
Some
to
of them
listen to
really
the,
right on the border, right?
yeah, I used to listen to that, also to boleros. That's a very elegant pop music from us and from Cuba and from all Hispano-American is a kind of elegant style. And that's what I used to listen, and I love to sing it too. So that's why I always had good music around my ears in my house.
When did you start with classical training?
Okay, oh my God, I think that it was kind of late. I wanted to do it before. That sometimes there's a lot of schools here, more in the States, that they have classical voice teachers and school, and so the student can have that opportunity to study voice in high school. So I didn't have that. I didn't have that. I just started this when I went to college. And then I started on a choir. And then I found a teacher there. She was very classical. She has a lot of knowledge about vocal technique. Then she accepted me. I didn't know anything about reading music, nothing. So she accepted me to be part of that choir at the University of Puerto Rico. And then I started like having a lot of experiences with the Puerto Rico Symphony Orchestra. We did the Symphony Dante from Liszt is the first thing I did.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, what is this? I just loved that environment. And to meet, the big Puerto Rico Symphony Orchestra. Our orchestra is a very good orchestra. It's a world-class orchestra. And when I heard everything, and then we did, I don't remember was the other one, where I started listening to classical voices, operatic, soprano, tenor. And then I was, oh my God, I want to do this. Can I do this?
You're hooked.
So I started like singing. I used to imitate them. I used to sing loud. And then I started having lessons with the teacher there, Zoraida Lopez, in the music in the University of Puerto Rico. Then I was accepted. I did an audition for the conservatory. There was very serious vocal classical training. So I started with my new teacher, Maria Esther Robles, and she was a wonderful soprano. She worked with Menotti.
Wow.
And she was one of the first soprano who sang the telephone, who sang the Menotti's work. So she was an amazing musician and an amazing voice teacher and an artist, of course. And she was one of my best teachers. I can say that my life, I took that seriously, that I wanted to be an opera singer with Maria Esther Robles.
Once you get bitten by that opera bug, which you hear the great voices and you discover your instrument, you just can't help it. You just can't help but pursue that, right?
Oh my God, it was so, I can still remember when it was the first rehearsal with the whole orchestra. And then another thing that I forgot to tell you is that I started singing in the opera choir. they did, what was
An
my,
incredible
I
place
think,
to learn the operas, right? Be in the
oh,
choir.
yeah, I remember I did La Forza del Destino, and the mezzo was Mignon Don. And I was in the choir, and she was very nice. And when she opened that voice, I
Yeah,
was like,
nothing.
oh my
You feel it in
God!
your body. It's just so exciting.
Yeah, yes. And she is a very nice person. She was always talking to us. It was I loved that environment. Of course, I didn't know how hard it was because it required to study a lot. But I love it. I love that. I love challenges. And when I started to go more into that world, I said, okay, this is what I want. Anyway, I had some other experiences. I have some other, how can I tell you? Sometimes the work pushed me to other places like music, pop music, because here in our country that is very important. So it was later on, but I have to tell you that I had a very good uh, uh, preparation in music with the Conservatory of Music. But
Well,
then
a
I
lot of great
started.
singers have come out of Puerto Rico. Justino Diaz, Pablo Alvira for two. I mean, there's so many fine singers that come out of Puerto Rico and have major careers.
Oh my God, a lot. We have very new young singers that they are all over the world doing an amazing career, and I feel very proud. By the way, Justino and Pablo Elvira, I sang with them when I started, so
Wow.
I can say that I sang with these wonderful people. Now Justino is retired. He's my friend. He's always like a mentor, and always, it's every time is good for every advice. Pablo Elvira passed away, but he was, oh my God, he was my first Silvio. Can you imagine? The
Wow.
first big production I did here was as Netta. And the cast was amazing. My Silvio was Pablo Elvira. And you know who was my Tonio?
Who?
Justino Diaz.
Dream team.
You dreamed, and you know who was my Canio? Antonio Barasorda.
Wow.
So it was for me like a good, amazing start. They were always being very supportive, mentors. I have to say it. So then after that, I started doing other things here because by that time, in the 90s, we had very good opera productions here. We have like two, no, three or four opera companies. We have zarzuela companies, and they used to do like two to three, four, sometimes more, in concert with the Puerto Rico Symphony Orchestra, zarzuela concert, opera, big staged opera. Uh, Everything was like a dream because I used to sing a lot here before going to the States or to Europe to sing something. It was like a workshop, and it is very professional the level. So I can say that I could, I could sing here, and I did it. I sing here, and I still do it. The thing is that everything has changed. Now we don't have the amount of production we used to have.
Nobody does. In the States, a
Yeah.
lot of the regional companies closed, and it's been a challenge for the ones surviving just to make ends meet. Yeah, that's really a challenge to find productions and and especially COVID's not going to, and when we come out of COVID, it's not going to help, It's
Yeah,
going to
no,
be,
it's not gonna help. But before that, was getting, it wasn't easy. So I have some friends that who studied with me at the conservatory that they just made a career in Europe, sopranos, tenors, and they have done a lot of good stuff there because there's always something good there. There's a lot of opera houses, and they have done beside all the people that you told me. And some other friends of mine, they have done a good career there in Europe. Melba Ramos, Edgardo Sayas. So we are proud of that we have had a lot of voices from this small country.
it's exciting to see people go on and to achieve. And so you've sung all over the United States. So what was it like to come to different, what are some of the great places you've been to make music, something that made an imprint on you?
The thing I will never forget. when I did Pagliacci in Shreveport, because the cast was amazing. And I remember that Alan Glassman was my cameo. So I remember that we had very good rehearsal, and the production was very good, very organized. The set was amazing, the costume, everything. As soon as I remember, everything was good around, and I felt very good. Also, the experience I have in Connecticut Grand Opera by that time when I did, it was the only Mozart I did internationally. It was Fiordiligi, because before I had done here, by the way, with Justino, who was my Don Giovanni, and I did Zerlina. But later on, for the Connecticut Grand Opera, we did a concert first, and then I did Fiordiligi. And I remember those experiences very well, as very good one, good cast. By the way, I have still some friends from those days. And then what else? I have a very, very good time in Europe, in Rome, because we did there for the Festivale Mediterraneo. Festival Mediterraneo. We did Candide. And it was with Rosalind Elias.
Oh, wow.
She just passed away.
I've met her many times. What a great lady.
Yeah. And they did a very good recording. There's a DVD recording of that Candide. It was very good. We were there like for a month. Oh my God, it was long and a lot of rehearsals. So those are very good experiences I have during my career, and not to mention the great experiences I still have here in my country. I have to say that everything I have done here, from the first time I was in the choir, from when I did my first Nedda, from when I did my Zerlina, I did, oh my God, Juliet, Romeo and Juliet. I did a lot of good stuff here. By the way, I was changing my repertoire before the COVID, and I was doing some more heavier repertoire. And I was supposed to do Cavalleria Rusticana.
Yeah, I saw that on your biography. I was like, oh, I would like to hear your Santuzza.
And I spent 1 year study that with my teachers, with Trish, with Kamal. Kamal is one of my favorite coaches. I love him, and he's my friend too.
Shout out to Kamal Khan, sure.
She was supposed to conduct it.
Oh.
The Cavalleria, and Rafael Davila, another wonderful tenor we have. He was supposed to do the tenor part. So it was, oh my God, it was so sorry. But I think they're supposed to do it in 2023. So I hope, because they were supposed to be with Suor Angelica.
That's an interesting pairing. Okay.
Yeah. So I was starting changing. That is why I'm telling this, because during pandemic times, I starting changing my repertoire. Before that, a little bit before that, because I was studying my Santuzza, and I felt very well with that role. So what can I tell you? After COVID, we know what I did. The first part of the pandemic times, I started having fun, trying to be at home with my family, trying to cook a lot. Oh my God,
what do you like to cook?
I like to cook and eat. And so
what's your favorite thing to cook?
Okay, let me tell you. I love veal parmigiana, and I do it very healthy. I don't fry the veal. I just do it, very soft with the breading, and I do it I with eggs and with cottage cheese, because they have a lot of protein. So it's very good. And the way I do the ground beef is very tasteful, and I love it. So that's my favorite. So I was telling you about this pandemic times. I started to read and to watch a lot of videos a YouTube channel and YouTube channel videos about vocal techniques. So I can compare with the things Trish and we do. And I started like being a very, how can I tell you, freak about technique. I started reading this book that is very good. I love it.
Well, that's a famous one. Yep, I've read that one. Robin Rice.
It's very good, this book, and share with my family, enjoy my country somehow. Safe because.
Now,
of
you
course,
have a parallel career. You're on television a lot. Tell us how you started that, and how did that become a part of your life?
Oh my God. they, they were looking for somebody to have some kind of spark and personalities. It's not that I'm saying that I have it. It's just that they told me.
You
I want
definitely
somebody
have it.
from the-
I'll
they
say
were,
it.
they called me, and I had this um, meeting in one local channel, TV channel. It's not local. It's just the I don't know how to say it. Is a channel here that they have other brands in the states.
An
So they call
affiliate.
me, exactly. So they called me and they said we need somebody to talk to be the jury of the singers because we want to do something like American Idol.
Of course.
It was very famous. They were using also the sample of a very famous Spanish American Idol. I don't remember the name. Anyway, they showed me that show in Spanish. They showed me several things, and they said, "We want you to do this. I want you to be a part of the jury, but we want you to talk about technical things." So it was like the first time somebody were talking more, deeply about the things, and people loved it.
Yeah, but you're a real singer. You do pop music and opera, and you're professional at both. So you're the perfect person to do that.
I thank you. So you don't know how wonderful it was and how powerful the television is, because everybody sees you. You're there, and it was every Saturday, and it has an amazing rating. It was everybody was watching it, and everybody knew who I was. It was like amazing. That doesn't happen with opera singers, but
I was doing. I was meeting up with a couple Puerto Rican friends, and I mentioned, I'm like, oh, I worked with this wonderful soprano from Puerto Rico, and they knew you immediately. She's on television. They knew you immediately.
It's very powerful. It is. So, oh my God, I had a great time because the thing about this kind of programs is the kind of promo you get. So it's good in a way because they can know what we people from opera world, opera business, we do, and how much we have to study, how sacrifice it is. So everybody started like having this curiosity about me. They started to see my videos, and they started to know more about me, about some other singers. That's the good stuff. So they said, okay, we do opera here. We have singers? And I said, oh my God, we have a lot of good singers. And it was a very good opportunity to show this amazing singers, amazing artists we have in the music, not commercial music. So also the opera, the symphony orchestra, they started like say, okay, we have an opera, a symphony orchestra, we have an opera company. So it was nice because that it's sad to say it, but sometimes people don't know this kind. It's not commercial, and it's not always there like this program was. It was every Saturday, 2 hours, and we
Wow.
don't have that kind of you don't have that kind of promo, or people think that is, oh no, I don't like opera is like something they take for granted, and it was good because it was positive for us.
That's amazing. Now, did it air all over the Latin world? Where did it play?
It was all over some states in the States. I remember it was in New York, in Houston.
We have a lot of Spanish speakers, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it was here. No, it was. We have a very good, attention. It was a very famous program, and it lasted like more. It was like 4 years. It was long because
Wow.
I started as a teacher first. Then they moved me to be a jury, and it was different because they started. This is very important. This is very nice to tell you, because they used to take videos during the lessons I had with the singers, and they loved my kind of technique I used. Tricia's thing about pulling, about using the body connection.
She's
About,
famous about pulling. We all know about that.
yeah, this kind of thing. And they loved it because they said that that's very unconventional. I didn't know that the voice was supposed to be that you were supposed to um, to teach like that, something like the voice. And it was very people, it was very people started to watch them and started to create like a how can I tell you? It started to be like more famous. Hilda, they said, "Oh, I love the way Hilda is teaching. I didn't know voice was supposed to be, you know, they was supposed to be like that." Sorry. Sometimes
That's
I'm
wonderful that people
thinking,
get to
I'm
get to
thinking
learn
too
about the
fast.
music and meet you, and
Yeah,
maybe
it
that'll
was
inspire them to start studying voice.
yeah, it was the first part of Objetivo Fama. I was a teacher, and it was like a camera opening my teachings all over the people, and they saw how I teach, and they saw how the voice can improve with technique. Sometimes the people from the pop world, they said, "No, I just want to do it natural. I don't want to learn how to do it or technique because I want to become too technical, so, or I lose my feeling or something like that." It's not true.
Not true at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
In fact, you'll actually when you're not feeling well, you'll be able to get through a performance maybe
yeah.
without canceling.
and, and then after exactly, and then after that, I started to be the part of the jury, and that was big,
Were
because
you
my
Simon
face.
Cowell or were you Paula Abdul?
Uh, Oh my God! And I remember one time during the show that I did a Madame Butterfly, the Scala version, with Michael Capasso in New York, in the Capo Opera.
I remember that place. Yep.
Yeah, and I did. I remember I did the very original Butterfly. It was the Scala version, the longest one. And I remember I was in Objetivo Fama, and they took some camera up to New York, some camera boys,
Wow.
and they took part of the rehearsal. And it was very exciting because you can you don't have that kind of opportunity every day, so you can show the people of this kind of shows and what is behind the opera single during rehearsals, and it was very nice. It was very
Now,
nice.
are you doing another show now? Are you working on any other shows? Do you do other outreaches to television?
Not in television. I just have done some recording singing for a channel we have here that is about everything is not commercial. So I have done some recordings, and I did a recording for Antonio Paoli, the very famous tenor from Puerto Rico, the one who was at the same time of Caruso, and he was it was the 150 years of Antonio Paoli, and we did an amazing concert with Rafael Davila because he's our new Paoli
He's
because of
doing
the
very well.
repertoire.
He's made his
Yeah,
Met debut 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago. I remember hearing all
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
2 seasons. Yeah. He did Carmen. He did Carmen, Don Jose, and it was amazing. And now he's still going back to the Met. And during pandemic time in March, we recorded this because they wanted to him to be like, they want to celebrate Antonio Paoli with Rafael Davila, and he invited me to do some repertoire that Antonio Paoli used to do. because he was the first tenor that recorded Pagliacci.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What year was that?
Yeah. Oh my God! It was like I don't remember the year now, but I will look it for you. It was during Caruso times.
So the
It,
early
it
1900s, the very like the zeros, amazing.
Yeah, and he did the first recording of Pagliacci, so that it's why we sing the last scene from Pagliacci. And the other thing I did was La Mamma Morta because he used to do Andrea Chenier, and we did Carmen because her sister used to be a mezzo soprano too, and a very she helped him during his career to push him to do this career. They moved to Europe. That is why he did that amazing career because of her sister. And we were mentioning that during this documental they did about Antonio Paoli. And then another thing I have to do after that, we are doing another concert with Rafi in October that was supposed to be in June.
Ah,
So another concert I'm doing is Sinatra to Bublé
really? With
with a
Raphael
big band.
Davlev. Wow.
It is a big band, an amazing big band. I have to sing standards. I have to sing Foggy Day because I love jazz. I love jazz.
I love to hear
And
that. How do you maintain your tech going back? How does your technique work going back and forth?
mm, I try to apply the same technique I use for opera, making some modification, of course, to sing pop or to sing jazz. And you know what? I haven't had any problem. I don't get tired when I sing. I always check that everything in the with the sound is good, so I don't have to yell or to sing too loud. I I try to practice because sometimes we think, oh no, that's very easy to do. I just go with the flow, for the day. And no, 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 no. I practice like we do for opera, and I record myself, and I said, okay, that song I don't like. Oh my God, I'm using too much my throat there. No, I can do some raspiness and some, but not always, of course. And then I'm checking my sound and checking and practicing the way, I have like a plan of it. It's not that I'm going there, that's very easy, I know how to do it. It's very speaky, it's very like talking. And no, because these standards, they have range. And
Those old,
jazz, of
Sinatra really had a
course.
great range and a great feel and
Yeah,
great technique too to be able to do that for so many years as he
exactly.
did.
Especially jazz. The range is not like, it's not a short, easy, middle, croonish range. No, no, it's not. You have to go up and down. Forget the when you scat, when you do something like that. I try to keep it on a same place, not thinking that this is high or this is low, or I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do this when I going up, or I'm gonna change to my soprano voice. No, it's not that. I don't have to do it. I don't need it. I don't need to go to my soprano voice if I'm singing a high E or a high F. I try to do it like Celine Dion or
Hmm.
like Barbara Streisand. They are so like my earrings. And my teacher said that is good. It's good because you have to keep the sound in your speech level, so you don't feel that it's high. You can talk up there. You can do, oh my God, I'm doing this, or the thing is that the way you do it is not turned. When that's what you do when you sing opera, it's turned because you have to project more. Here you have a mic, so you don't have to be trying to look for a big operatic sound.
You're not
So
wearing that sound, using all that back
yeah, no,
resonance.
no, no, it's not that.
That'll
So
sound
I have,
strange when you're in the trying to sing jazz with that back resonance. Wouldn't work. It's just placing it's a different placement, right? But the breathing's probably the same.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing is that it requires the same support because you cannot sing too light or too soft because you won't be heard no matter how the sound is. You have to look for some support and for some energy that can help keep that sound even. And that's what I teach, and I love to teach that. So when I teach, it's like the very famous Jojo Ma. He used to say, "When I teach, I learn." So that's what happens when I teach.
I'm a college teacher. I'm a university professor, and I
Yeah.
learn every day when I'm in front of my students. I'm like, they always remind me of my technique. I have to rethink, why do I do that? I teach conducting. I'm always thinking about what's the best way to do this. Then I have to reevaluate myself every time I'm up there. It's great.
It's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And sometimes they tell you, but I feel like this or that, and you have to know how they can understand how, and they can feel it the way you want. So when you start looking for that thing, you learn. Maybe you have to do that for yourself, and it always with also with pop, because jazz is easier because jazz is not too low. Some singers they sing very low, like Diana Krall, but you know that Ella Fitzgerald, she used to sing low, but she used to go up to when she used to start, and she didn't stay on the same range or short range. She used to go up and down, and in pop the thing is that in pop, the students they try to imitate the pop singers, famous pop singers, voice, and that can be very dangerous. So I have to listen to them. That's why, because of my students, I know all this pop repertoire, Ariana Grande, and and because they always they are always bringing me new repertoire, and I said, okay, I'm gonna make a deal with you. You do this, and then you can do. We can do what you brought.
Caro
So
mio
I have to
ben
listen
and
to
Ariana Grande.
exactly, and I have to listen to them first because I have to know what they are doing with their throats, with their voices, so I can get it right. And I said, this, don't try to sing, don't try to do that sound. Just do it your way, and it's gonna sound like hers. But try to always. I'm trying to tell them to do their option, their version, what they feel better, their version.
We all
Because
have our own
sometimes I want,
throats, right? Our own voices and our own way of singing. So it's very dangerous to try to reproduce someone else's sound. So it's so important to have a good teacher to guide them
But
through.
the thing sometimes is easier when the voice is similar. Like my teacher used to say, it's always good to look for, to think about what that voice reminds you. Okay, that voice reminds me Barbara Streisand. Maybe you can try this and that. So you don't imitate because you know that's already similar. But some of them, oh my God, all of them, they want to imitate. And you have to know how to tell them how not to do it that way. But they know, because when they start doing it, it hurts. And they start,
Doesn't
"Oh my
work."
God, it hurts." Help me with
I always
this.
say that's
Help
not
me
a good
with
thing. You don't want that.
Exactly. Oh my God. I having fun with this, Jason.
When was the first time you started teaching, and how did you know that's something you
Oh my
liked?
God, it was a long time ago. As soon as I remember, it was before I had my son. I started teaching.
Now, you
because
told
I
me your
loved
son's
it.
also a singer as well?
Yeah, he's a singer.
Of
Oh my
course.
God, he's a bass baritone. He loved MT, musical theater, but he also sings opera. He has a very bass baritone voice. And he studied with Mark Schneibel. You know who's
Oh,
Mark?
sure. I do know Mark Schnabel, sure.
Trish's husband. I love him. Oh my God, I love them. They are like my family. And he's the kind of similar voice that's why I wanted him to study with Mark. So I love them. He's always singing all over the house. He's like, he's always doing new repertoire. And sometimes I said, be careful with that sound, because no matter if I'm cooking or something.
It's great
Yeah.
having. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 22. I have 2 18-year-old girls going to college, and I have a 16-year-old. The 16-year-old has become a serious drummer, and he's studying jazz and rock and fusion and banging on everything around the house, making a lot of noise generally. But we're very proud.
Oh my God, that's loud. That's
It's great
louder
to
than
see. It's
my
great to see
song.
the kids singing and making music. And my maestro Filipini, used to tell me, he goes, "If you could see yourself doing anything other than music, do that." And it's music, such a challenging way to make a living. But boy, if you have that desire, nothing's gonna get in the way if you really want it.
Yeah, exactly. I did, of course. I know this is very hard career, but he's in strict theater too. He's an actor, and he's working now as a voiceover artist
Wow.
in that channel that I told you here. That is not a non-commercial channel. It's a cultural channel. He has a job here there, and it's an amazing one. He has to do like voiceovers, and he has a very like good speaking voice too. So I'm very happy because it's something that has to do with art.
It is definitely such an incredible art, and it's a great voyage. I mean, you meet such interesting people. I love my job. I love being an artist and getting to meet so many different people from so many different cultures, and I learn every time.
Yes, and my husband is a musician too. He plays the trumpet. He used to be a singer, pop singer, and
Is he
he
a
works
jazz
with.
trumpet player or is he a classical trumpet player?
It's more a jazz player. He loves to play ballads. He has a beautiful legato because he was a singer, so he
There you
sings
go.
with a trumpet, and he's a very good musician. He works with his father, and he does jingles. He's a writer too. He's very talented, and my house is full of music all the time. And he's here where I teach too. And we have a very musical family because her father and her grandfather they are amazing musicians. So it's everything is full of music here.
You can't beat that. A life full of music. We have some questions from the audience I've been getting, so thank you so much, audience members, for writing in. And the first one is, what are your 3 favorite roles? And second, what are your 3 favorite pop songs?
I love Tosca. Nedda. Okay, everything is Puccini. Puccini. No, Nedda is Leoncavallo. Nedda, Tosca, and of course, Madame Butterfly. I love.
Yeah, so 3 of the greatest soprano roles in the
And I have
entire
done
record.
it, the three of them. I have done it. And pop song, the 3 pop song, can it be from jazz too?
Your call, entirely.
Okay. Uh, I love The Man I Love from Gershwin.
Oh, gorgeous.
Deja come along, the man I love. And I love from Barbara Streisand from Funny Girl. I love people. I love people.
Hmm.
And from Puerto Rico, there is a very famous bolero that it talks about our country that is called Soñando con Puerto Rico. And it's one of my favorites. So
A great
those are my
choice.
3. You got them.
So what is the state of things in Puerto Rico with COVID and all the challenges? How are things on the island? The island was so horribly hit. There was the earthquake. There was everything came so quick, and I have a lot of friends on the island. I was really concerned. There was such terrible luck, and then COVID came, so I haven't been in touch with a lot of people. But how has it been
Yeah.
in the last year?
One after the other. First, the Hurricane Maria was in 2017. Then we had the earthquakes. But our people is very resilient. It's very brave people. They always are trying to make everything better. I remember the day after the hurricane because I live on an 8th floor, and that, oh my God, everything was moving. The doors, the sliding doors, they are made of glass, and I have protectors, but the way it sounded and the way the wind sounded was very noisy and it was very scary. So after that, when everything passed, I started watching the people trying to taking to how can I to clean everything. They started
Sure.
working and helping each other. You need something if somebody happened in front of because some trees they just fell in front of the entrance of a lot of houses, and they didn't know they didn't they couldn't go out, or it was it, COVID is nothing. It's nothing with that experience. The thing with COVID is that our government, I think that have been very responsible with the laws, with law enforcement, they are being, they the government has been very strict with that. Of course, there will be people who don't follow strong instruction, but at the beginning of the pandemic times, it was good. We weren't. It wasn't a pandemonium here. It wasn't. Everything was under control. So that's why it wasn't scary, because when we started hearing the news from Europe, from Italy, from Spain, that the hospital they were full of people, of sick people, it was very scary. And
New York, for example, Italy, New York were hit so hard.
Yeah, my son was in Brooklyn College by that time, and he had to finish the master's degree here, virtually, because my teacher told me, okay, that he has to go to your place because he will be safe there, because this is getting very, very bad. So here, I think we did a good job as our country, our people, with the three things, with Maria, with the earthquake things, that still we are having it. We're still, and that part, the south part of the island, are still having these earthquakes, and it's very scary.
Glad to hear things are, not as bad as they could be, and that there's life going on. And we have a shout out to Daniel Mojico, says hello. He's on the chat feature and living in New Jersey and making great music here.
Sorry for my English. Sometimes I like.
Your English is fantastic. Much better than my Spanish.
Okay. You don't speak Spanish, do you?
No. Un poco.
Un poco. Oh, yeah.
I speak like enough Spanish, but through my Italian, it's like just close enough, and I can understand things.
Okay. Yeah, they are similar. I know. Yes, I'm very glad to talk to you and to share my life. I think that there's no such things and bit as of singing in very famous places or singing there. I think that you have to prepare good for every little thing you do, and there is always room for improvement. And every time you're gonna sing something, no matter what it is, you have to do it right. You have to try to do it the best you can. You have to look for the best teachers. You have to look for the people who believe in yourself and believe in your talent, because that's the best satisfaction you can have it as an artist.
Artistry comes from hard work and perseverance, and without that, you'll never have the complete artist, right?
Yeah, I always tell that to my students. No matter, when they say, no, I have to sing this in the school, it's just something not important. No, you have to do it right, because you never know who is there watching you.
There's always been someone really important at every small concert I do, even with an orchestra in a small venue. There's always someone from the Met sitting there, or someone whose cousin conducts it. So it's amazing how that always works out. You just never know where people show up and wind up, and I'm the same way. If it's my name's on it, I do it the best I can. I'm always going to be prepared, and I love that about you too. That just that dedication to your craft is such a rewarding thing, and it's so great to hear.
I thank you, Ramesh. I love to teach. I love it. That's as I told you, is a good way to learn. It's something like it turns back to you, and that's why I mentioned this book I'm reading about great teachers, some great singing, and they speak of the way they teach. They look. He said at the beginning that it's Robin Rice, and he said, I chose these teachers because I could realize they had a special way to tell this kind of hard information to the students. They are very successful because our instrument.
There's very few really good teachers. Very few have real impact on the students, and it's really a special thing when you find a great teacher.
Yeah, I thank you. So yeah, I love Trish, and she has been there always. Oh my God, I have studied with Trish more than 20 years. I mean,
Wow.
he's all all the students. So she's always there. You know, is this kind of teacher that she's always like worry about everything concerning about us. When she knew about the hurricane and the earthquakes, I always receive a text or an email. Hilda, are you good? Are you fine? I want to know how are you? I just heard on the news you're all over the news. She told me, and you know, it's not only that you pay them and they teach you how to do this or that. It's not that. She's this kind of teacher that is always, trying to know about their students, to that you're fine, because she said that you have to be good in every matter to be a good singer. It's not, and you have to have a very good communication with your student, not only as a singer but as a person,
Good point. What
to
advice do you have for
understand them.
people just starting out in the opera field or people who have aspirations to become professional singers? What advice do you have?
Okay, you have to always be studying. Is the best tool we can have. Always studying, and don't do it by yourself. If you have the opportunity, if you somebody called you to do in a month, Mimi, oh, but I have done it before, so I know it. I can practice, and that's no. Go always to your coach, to your teacher, because it's gonna be better than you think. Singer. We need more ears up away from ours. We need more ears, and you have to look for people who are very or who are not who has an amazing knowledge about the part you're doing.
True.
There's a
Know
lot
all
of
the pitfalls, all the challenging spots, the hard phrases, have been on the stage to do that. That advice is invaluable. It's just so important.
yeah, and there's some coach that they concentrate on Puccini, some of them on Mozart. So you have to go look for the good ones, so they can teach you some of the things you don't know or you don't realize you're doing, or it's something new, because you can always learn something new about Puccini. Can you imagine? There's a lot to learn about languages, about about the score. There's a lot of the score. Renata Scotto was my teacher, and she used to tell me everything is in the score. You have to look. Everything is in the score. So we singers sometimes we don't see everything, but a pianist, a coach, they used to study this deeper. So they can tell you. Go to a person who can help you. Doesn't matter if they have to
I
fix
find
a
that
lot
the
of.
coaches, sometimes the voice teachers are focusing technique, really focusing on the technique and keeping the technique going, but the coach or the conductor is going to focus on something entirely different. We come at it from like the harmonic or like from the orchestration or things you may not think about, because technique is not our primary concern. By the time we get there, we're used to working with singers with good technique. We're looking at other ideas. So that
You just said
everyone's
it.
got a different part of the equation. It really is special, and it's what I love about music is we're always learning.
Always. There's something always, and then I used like Kamal. Kamal is like, oh my God, he's like a genius, and she's always telling you, okay, be careful here because the orchestra is playing in your part, or be careful here because the orchestra is moving different, or because of the. It's amazing what we learn with these people. Sometimes we don't have the time to go that deep in that music, and we need that people. So I
Absolutely.
think that you should go to both, to your teacher. I did it when the last thing I sang was Mimi, and I used, oh my God, I haven't done Mimi in a while. So I told my teacher, I don't know if I can sing this after singing Tosca or this other kind of repertoire. And she said, no, you can do it. Do this. You have to fix this. And that was Trish McCaffrey. And in 15 minutes, she fixed like 1,000 things.
Like a magician, right? But takes what you have to make sure works the vowels, make sure everything's intact, the technique is solid, and then you take it with you, right? You take it with you,
And
and
make you feel sure when you're on stage, because because you have a plan of what you're doing in this part that was supposed to be harder, and oh my God, what I can do in this. You are not like doubting. You know how to get there.
Mammy Dolly, who's a dear person in New Jersey, she says, "Amen. It takes a village. It does take a village to be an artist, doesn't it?"
Excuse me?
It takes a whole village to be an artist. You have to have your family, you have to have your teacher, you have to have your coaches, you have to have, people who you trust out in the audience. I always have people I trust, and I ask how I did on every performance. I'm always asking, how was the orchestra? How was the blend? How was the balance? What pieces did you like?
Yeah.
It does.
It is. Yeah, you're right. So that's the best advice. Because
Agreed.
You have to be sure when you go to sing. If you feel like uncomfortable with something, you have to get that point, because it's gonna show. We are singing, we're very expressive. Everything that can be very like you're with any doubt or something that can be like scary. You show it. You in your eyes, or people can see it.
If there's a part of the score you're nervous about, it's going to crack. And as a conductor, if there's a part I'm nervous about, I practice that for hours, because that's where it's going to fall apart. If you have any nerves, your psyche takes over, and you have to be 100% by the time you get through those spots.
And of course, it's not that you won't be nervous, or you're like very sure about it and you get everything right. Oh my God, I'm the best. It's not that, because you're always nervous, and it doesn't matter if you know the part very well. You're always nervous, because it's kind of the thing. You have to be anxious. If
you're not nervous,
normal.
you're dead. You're dead, right?
Yeah, it's normal.
My son in Berkeley had his big performance after 5 weeks of studying at the Berkeley School, and he had a jazz concert, right? And he was really nervous about it. And he said, he goes, "Dad, I was so nervous." And I said, "Well, Mason, that's totally normal, because as a performer, you're always going to be nervous. You take those nerves and you learn how to make your performance more exciting."
Yeah,
that's what you have to learn through the years. As a 16-year-old, you're going to learn to do that over the next 5-10 years, and train those skills to take that and make it excitement.
I have heard, I don't remember, that's very true. You have to turn that energy and that anxiety into good things, into good energy. So I remember a very famous, I think it was Plácido Domingo, who said, if you say you're not nervous, you're lying.
Or dead.
Or dead.
Well, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today, and for coming on Music Matters. It's been a labor of love for me to get great artists like yourself up here to have these conversations, and I think it's wonderful. You have to come back again.
Yes, of course. And it was very nice, because people like you are very, you're always have good question, and your comments, and the way you do this thing is very good. I have seen other interviews, other conversation, because these are not interviews, conversation, and I love them, and I love the way artists present through this platform. I love it, and bravo, bravissimo.
We always learn so much from each other. I always find I learn something every time I have one of these interviews. People are so interesting, and they're so willing to share, and I think that's something that our field needs more of, is to get the word out there, to talk to each other. I started Music Matters because I wasn't having these conversations in the cafes after the shows, or after rehearsal between runs on
There's
tours.
no time.
I miss those, and I just miss meeting the dead. So I was home so much. We said, let's do this. So it's almost 200 now. So we're a little over a year.
Yeah, congratulations, Jason.
Well, I wish you the best. I can't wait to hear your Sinatra concert with Rafi Davila. And where can people go to find out more about Hilda Ramos?
Okay, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. And my husband had it before, and some of my videos are under my husband, Angel Peña Ramos. But I opened recently another one, and is Hilda Ramos. And I have an agent, and you can find some other stuff about me, critics, videos, photos, under MIA Artist Management, MIA Artist Management. Also in Facebook under my name, Hilda Ramos. I'm always posting everything I do, singing, everything I do in my life. I ride bicycle with my husband, and I love it. So everything is there. And also, if you want to ask me something about my teachings that I have learned from my great teachers, I'm always available.
Well, thank you so much. Continued success, and I look forward to seeing you not too long.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on upcoming guests and topics. You can also see us on Instagram, on Facebook, on wherever, all the social media platforms. You can also hear our podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that's new, and also on the radio in New York City from 11:30 to noon on WMCA. So thank you so much. You can also join our mailing list. We don't spam, and we keep in touch with all our people on www.jasontram.net. And here you can hear our almost 200 past episodes. So I hope you can join us. Thank you for watching Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Good night, and keep music alive.